The choice of the tree. The choice of a tree that can resist a garden's extreme climatic variations. This young apricot tree was grown in the garden from an apricot that fell to the ground. Its stone, buried in the earth, grew into this tree that is resistant to the extreme climatic variations of its environment, especially with heat and hot air, like the one from a hairdryer, and with cold, like ice, poured on its roots. What are these extreme climatic variations? What are the origins of these extreme climatic variations? A. Variations in space or on Earth's surface. Each of Earth's revolutions lasts 24 hours, 12 hours of sun and 12 hours of night, that follow each other infinitely. At the Earth's summits, there are the North Pole and the South Pole. The temperature between each pole is maintained consistently between 10 degrees Celsius and minus 88 degrees Celsius, with an average of minus 34 degrees Celsius is due to the fact that they are far away from the sun. We can say that the globe rotates permanently around a vertical axis, and that by going from a pole to the equator, that constitutes its biggest horizontal distance, we progressively get closer to the sun, and the closest at the equator, where temperatures oscillate from minus 4 degrees Celsius to plus 58 degrees Celsius, with an average of 24 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius. Extreme climatic variation in time and in a specific environment. The annual rotation of the Earth around the Sun takes an elliptical orbit. This can be divided into 4 seasons: summer, autumn, winter, and spring. In reality, we can conclude that there are only 2 seasons, summer and winter. The others are transition seasons, where the temperature goes from the hottest to the coldest, and vice versa. So, we can trace from one year to another the temperature curve depending on the 4 seasons. On an axis X, OX, we plot the temperatures in degrees, and on an axis Y, OY, perpendicular to X, OX, we trace the elliptical curves of the temperature of each year. Their temperatures oscillate between minus 88 degrees Celsius and plus 58 degrees Celsius. This allows to trace the average temperature curves of each year depending on the weather. The choice of tree in the garden or in a specific environment is determined according to its climatic profile by the variations in space and time. So we can trace horizontal and parallel lines globally defining on each hemisphere 6 climatic zones. 1. Polar zone. 2. Subpolar zone. 3. Cold climate zone. 4. Temperate zone. 5. Subtropical zone. 6. Equatorial or tropical zone. So we can determine the climate in any country on Earth by stopping the rotation of the globe in a way that the country in question is the one we are looking at. Each species of tree has a climatic profile unique to itself. Therefore, we can divide the trees into 2 groups: those that are acclimatized to a hot climate, such as the Barbary fig, that tolerate a temperature up to 50 degrees Celsius. B. And those that tolerate a cold climate down to a temperature of minus 35 degrees Celsius. It is about trees from the temperate zone overlapping slightly in the cold or subtropical zones. We can list fruit trees' hardiness in the order of appearance of their fruits. 1. At minus 12 degrees Celsius for the medlar. 2. At minus 12 degrees Celsius for the mulberry tree. 3. At minus 30 degrees Celsius for the cherry tree. 4. At minus 25 degrees Celsius for the apricot tree. 5. At minus 15 degrees Celsius for the fig tree. 6. At minus 20 degrees Celsius for the peach tree. 7. At minus 30 degrees Celsius for the nectarine tree. 8. At minus 35 degrees Celsius for the apple tree. 9. At minus 25 degrees Celsius for the plum tree. 10. At minus 30 degrees Celsius for the pear tree. 11. At minus 25 degrees Celsius for the almond tree. 12. At minus 30 degrees Celsius for the hazelnut tree. 13. At minus 18 degrees Celsius for the date plum tree. 14. At minus 25 degrees Celsius for the quince tree. 15. At minus 12 degrees Celsius for the pomegranate tree. 16. At minus 25 degrees Celsius for the walnut tree. 17. At minus 12 degrees Celsius for the olive tree. 18. At minus 9 degrees Celsius for the citrus tree. 9.3. The choice of tree in respect of pollination.